Hey, garbage people, welcome to another episode of I Love This Trash, a segment of the I Love This Flick podcast. And I'm your host, Josh Pfizer. With me today is Gabe Wilkinson. Sorry, I was just trying to think of what to introduce you as, is because you're multifaceted. You're a musician,
Yep.
producer, movie buff.
Yeah.
Are you the front man for the band Microwaved?
I'm the whole band.
You're the whole band. Oh, you're I don't know how to, like, one of those guys with the uh you know xylophone, or like, and like
Yeah.
the yeah. Anyway, you're like Bob Dylan. You're pretty much
Yeah.
Bob Dylan. Gabe,
Yeah.
you can hear that. You heard it here first. Gabe Wilkinson is this generation's Bob Dylan.
I don't know
uh,
about that.
but I definitely wanted you on the podcast because I know you're a huge movie buff. Hey, baby. And I mean, like, I one of my favorite ways I've ever made friends with anybody is how we became friends. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Yeah,
Talking
because,
about Tarantino.
well, no, well, yes, and like we had an argument about it, but um, well, like, one of we worked together, and worked past tense, and one of the guys we were working with on the special project was just like asking you about your tattoo, and you're just like, oh yeah, it's Dracula, and I said, like, oh yeah, it's Christopher Lee from the Hammer horror movies.
Yep.
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 That's when I knew you're good people.
That's when you knew I knew my shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I definitely wanted you on this podcast, and I definitely and I you know I'm really excited about this episode, because it is a movie I discovered not too long ago, because well, I knew about it, but I didn't know, but I never watched it. And God, this is such a fun fucking movie. But let's just fucking get into it. We're gonna be talking about Tammy and the T-Rex.
Everything in Tammy's life is just great. But when you're young and in love, life can get very complicated, especially when it involves an insanely jealous creep.
That's my lady, all right?
Late night phone calls,
I want you to come over.
sneaking around in your own house,
Did you lock the door?
Don't worry.
your boyfriend getting dumped in a wild animal park, and a crazy doctor
Well, that's it.
who turns out to be a mad scientist
I mean, if you're going to make an omelet, you have to break a few eggs, right?
with an insane invention that only needs a brain. But this Tyrannosaurus Rex just wants to be a party animal. Even when you tell the truth, nobody believes it anymore.
It was a dinosaur.
What? It's more than a machine with a brain. I mean, it is a machine with feelings. We are on the brink of something special. We are going to be immortalized.
Is that really you in there? Oh, Michael, what have they done to you?
Oh, you poor thing. You gone crazy.
Byron, I am not going crazy. This is just a little hard to explain.
That's my dinosaur!
We found the dinosaur, Sheriff. It's in a truck being driven by by your son.
Byron?
Yes, sir. See, a couple of folks back at the hospital, they say he stole it.
Stole what?
The dinosaur.
Oh, jeez. That is my dinosaur that you are threatening. I made him and he is mine.
What are we going to do?
I will give you immortality.
Not if Tammy has anything to say about it. Tammy and the T-Rex.
And wow. Because like I watched this a couple of months ago when it came out on because weirdly enough, they came out with an extended version from your like I know you hype these guys up, Vinegar Syndrome.
Yes.
An extended version that because the movie was cut initially to exclude the gore, which we will definitely be talking about at length. But yeah, and they re-released it in the theaters, and like that's the only version I saw. Like I was thinking about getting the DVD copy not too long ago, but it wouldn't have shipped out to me in the right time because I wanted to see it like in the original theatrical cut. But yeah, it's such a fun weird and you said this on Facebook, just totally 90s movie.
Oh yeah, it's like Friends with a bad.
Yeah. No, it has that kind of like you can definitely see because it was 1995 and
Yeah.
I was wrong. I wrongly assumed that the reason this got made is the same reason like uh Carnosaur got made. Do you know that movie with Roger Corman?
Yeah, Carnosaur from Charles Band, Full Moon Features.
Yeah, and it was um it was made solely because Jurassic Park was going to come out, and I think it just came out weeks before Jurassic Park did, and I was just like, okay, Jurassic Park came out in 93, this movie comes out in 95. I just assumed like it was them trying to profit off the popularity of Jurassic Park. But no, do you know the story of how this got made?
No, I was doing a little bit of reading on IMDb before I watched it today, but it was just factual information. It wasn't really the background on it.
Right. Well, what happened was the director, and this is a pretty I don't want to necessarily say accomplished director. He's done a lot. His most famous movie is Mac and Me, so
Oh,
you know what? I'll say accomplished director. People know Mac and Me. Like they got that McDonald's money for sure. His name is Stuart Raphael. I might be saying that wrong, but he knew a guy from South America who just had an animatronic dinosaur, a T-Rex, and it was about to be shipped off to I believe Texas in a couple of weeks, and just like I got to make a movie with this thing, and yeah, and like that's what happened. Like he made a movie just so like, and it really does feel like, you know, and you went to film school, right?
no, I went to theater school.
You went to theater school, but you've done stuff. You've done some filmmaking. You've done
Yep.
commercials. You've also done. You told me you did some short films.
Like training videos and like videos for like corporate things and stuff like
Right.
that. No real,
But you
nothing
done
cool.
but you done some advertising. You've done some filmmaking.
Yep.
It's the independent film thing of, hey, we have this thing that we can use. Let's try to make a movie around it while we can. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. Use it before you lose it.
Yeah. Roger Corman did you know the movie The Terror with Jack Nicholson and Boris Karloff. That movie only came about because they wanted to they like, hey, let's make a really cheap movie while we still have these sets for these Edgar Allan Poe movies that we made.
Yep.
So it was kind of like that, and that makes it even better, honestly, for me.
Yeah.
To know that that's how this movie came about. Yeah, and like so we'll get into the movie. It starts. It's a high school movie. It stars It stars I think top billing goes to Denise Richards.
Yes, it does. Yep.
Probably her second best role after Christmas Jones in
Oh, Starship Troopers. Starship Troopers.
Oh, Starship Troopers, absolutely.
That's my hands down my favorite Denise Richards role is Starship Troopers. That
Actually, you
movie
know
is
what?
flawless.
Well, after this, I don't, because I was gonna say unironically, yeah, Starship Troopers, but also like I'm not exactly sure if like I like that or this better. I'm gonna be honest. Like I really love her performance in this. She's hilarious. It also stars the late Paul Walker.
Yep.
And he physically and even in voice is only in the movie for like probably 7 minutes, 10 minutes
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, about 10 minutes, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. He's not in it very long, but he is such a baby in this. He's so baby faced.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
weird because I remember because I think the first time I saw him was in the Fast and the Furious when he was like in his mid-20s.
Yeah.
But of course, he was also one of those guys where he was like in his like 40, when he died, and like even then, this is like in the Fast and the Furious movies, he's like he still looks super young. He's like one of those guys. You know what I mean?
Baby
Those
face.
fucking
Baby face.
assholes. It also starred Terry Kaiser, who most people will know from the Weekend and Bernie's movies. He was Bernie.
Right. Right. He was the mad scientist, right?
Yeah, he was the mad scientist. He was fantastic as well. This movie is just so hilarious. And
Well, and
like,
that Weasel kid was from Fright Night.
oh, was he? And like, I didn't realize he was from Fright Night. I recognized him from and I want to say he was. I'm pretty sure he was the one of the McPoyle brothers from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, it could be. I've only watched a handful of those episodes for Always Sunny.
Right. I'm pretty sure he is. It also he's not like a name, but I just want to bring him up because he's the best character in the movie. You know what I mean?
Billy?
No. Byron.
Byron.
The gay best friend?
Oh, see, now I thought that was just really bad Meshock Taylor impersonation.
What you mean from Mannequin?
Yeah, or no, from Designing Women.
Oh, yeah. Was he? But he was in Mannequin too, right? That guy?
Yeah, I believe so. I was just thinking of Designing Women.
I don't know. I love him. I love this guy Theo Forsyth. I don't know. I loved his performance as like, and of course it's like a stereotypical thing. It's not exactly a quote unquote woke thing, but he's the sassy gay black best friend of Denise Richards.
What I thought was interesting was the actual dynamic of the relationship with the father, where he was trying to have some sort of relationship, and the father was trying too, but they were just having this misinformation and missed connections. And I thought that was really interesting because that was actually something a little deeper than what the movie was touting itself as to be.
Oh, absolutely. There is actually a lot of like really interesting things, like the relationship between Byron and his like sheriff dad, and like the relationship between Paul Walker's character and his uncle. And like the uncle character in general is just like there's that scene in like at the funeral. But yeah, so just getting into the movie, it starts with a fairly Paul Walker and Denise Richards, and I'm looking up the character names now. Denise Richards as the titular Tammy. By the way, we should mention in the opening credits,
Tanny.
It's Tanny.
Yeah.
What the fuck is up? Like, I don't know what's up with that. But also, like, the title is Tanny and the Teenage Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Right.
Yeah. which is a little wordy. Like Tammy and the T-Rex is better. Also, like Tanny is not a fucking name. What the
No,
fuck?
I thought it said tranny at first, and I was like, "What the hell am I watching?"
Yeah, is this like one of those is one of those movies that you're gonna be like, it's 2020. This is not good.
Right,
Yeah,
right. I kept thinking it was going to be cringeworthy.
yeah, it was gonna but Tammy and Michael, they have a fairly new relationship. But Tammy has this jealous ex-boyfriend, which, Michael and Billy, the ex-boyfriend, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Billy.
They get into just like like a funny fight in the schoolyard where it ends with them both grabbing each other's crotches like hard. And the joke is like after the police break them up. But by the way, the police are these two like bumbling,
Like double Barney Fife.
yeah, like kind of they remind me of the reason I don't really like Last House on the Left is because of
Oh,
the weird comedic cop scenes in that movie
yeah,
between scenes of rape and gore.
yeah. That's a film I can't ever watch. I've
Yeah.
watched it like twice, and it tears your heart out a little bit each time you watch it.
Yeah, and not in the way I think they intended, like Wes Craven intended. I think it's just like, like really it's those cops that really like make the movie like less than for me. It's just like, why are you bringing in this comic relief after you just showed in entirety
Yeah,
a horrifying rape?
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Uh,
But like
that's a whole.
no, go
That's
ahead.
a whole nother world.
Yeah, yeah. And I haven't seen I Spit on Your Grave, so that might be the better version of it. I'm sure you have. 'Cause
Yeah, I've
you're
seen it. It's also called Day of the Woman,
right.
and I think Wes Craven's film is far superior and has more of a gut punch than Day of the Woman.
Okay.
It's
I
more
guess
it's more visceral.
I
Wes
guess I'll
Craven.
I guess I will have to check it out because excuse me. Yeah, I just have never watched it. It's um I don't know. It and you tell me if I'm wrong. It seems like a lot of those movies are kind of samey. You know what I mean?
No, explain.
I like I don't know. I guess Miss 45 is a little different. I think there is like a very much a difference in it, but like the rape and revenge, it's uh um the first act is this horrifying thing that you have to endure, and then like
Right,
the
right.
next act is, yeah, you know what I mean, right?
Yep, I get you. I
Yeah.
get you. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, the Miss 45 is one of those movies that I've always had on my list but never got around to.
I think I've only seen like half of it, so just not like, I had to shut it off, but like in a way that like I just like I had to do something else and like never got back to it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But back to Tammy and the T-Rex, which is a weird to say much more lighthearted movie
yeah, yeah.
because and it is weird to say because after the fight with Billy, and like what's weird is like there's these two girls that are part of the gang.
Right.
And by the way, this is a gang that only happens in teen movies where they are homicidal. Like,
Yeah,
it's Cobra Kai, it's the guys from Footloose. It's just like, you know what I mean?
yeah. It's the yeah. I do. They're the maniacs. Absolutely.
Yeah. So they eventually like kidnap Paul Walker and take him to a animal sanctuary.
Yeah, it was a wild cat sanctuary.
Yeah, and again, another weird element of this movie because it's this only shows up then. Like I don't know. I think it was just like, hey, we have access to a lion and a we have a stunt person. Let's shoot a scene where they fight and let's shoot a scene where the I mean second build character, he's the T-Rex, gets murdered by a lion.
Yeah.
And I think then we meet the doctor, and the doctor played by like I said, Terry Kaiser. He has his assistant is that Buck Flower?
I think so. And I kept waiting for her breasts to be exposed at some point in time.
Like that is also another thing that is weird because we're going to talk about the gore in this movie, but that wasn't initially a part of it. Like it was wasn't initially part of the theatrical version. Like it was something they wanted for initially the R-rated version.
Right.
But
the gore would have cut it down to like an 85-minute show.
I don't know about, well, yeah.
But the runtime is 90 minutes on it. So you take out the 5 minutes of gore, and that's a really short.
I mean, but that's still feature length. Like,
yeah.
like when I look at 85 minutes on a B movie like this, I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's one of the things. But I am surprised that there were no titty scenes. There is a sex scene.
Yeah.
Later. But yeah, and she's great. Everybody's hilarious in this movie. And that's the thing. It's just like, you see these kinds of movies, and you mentioned Charles Band earlier. He makes those kind of horror comedies. But they're not really funny. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, you don't love Evil Bong?
Jesus fucking Christ.
Or Dollman versus Demonic Toys?
Oh my god. Or what was it, Ginger Dead Man with Gary Busey, who they couldn't even get Gary Busey back for the sequels. That's how much. I'm just like, oh, and also like small cameo from Efren Ramirez, I should point out, who was Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite. He's the pizza guy in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Who was okay? And we also have John Franklin as like the guy who created the animatronic dinosaur for some reason. I don't understand.
I thought he was like a kid that was doing it, and then he's like a grown man, but he's like a man baby.
Yeah, no, he is. Let's see. He was apparently he was Cousin It in the Addams Family movies, and he was Isaac in Children of the Corn.
Ah,
yeah, he's in the sixth.
This place I used to work in high school, they told me I looked like Malachi from Children of the Corn when I had my long red hair.
I can see that. I can absolutely see that. He was also apparently Chucky when he walks in Child's Play. So
he is a man of small stature.
Yes, he very much is. He's one of those character actors that you've definitely seen in stuff before. Yeah, he I'm looking at his filmography. He did a bit part in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which I liked. That now it's like, okay, now I remember him more clearly. So like this group, this like doctor and this group of scientists and whatever they're trying to create a way to implant brains into the body of animatronic beings to like prolong life. I think that's what they're trying to do. I don't think it was ever clear exactly their purpose, but it was just like, hey, we have this dinosaur. Let's write something.
Right. Well, he did mention later on that he was going to do it for pets, for people's pets, for their loved ones and their pets, so they could keep them going forever.
I love the line like people love pets more than they love people.
Yeah.
But they go on and so Paul Walker's character dies. There's this hilarious scene in the hospital. Like it's we can't do the comedy in this justice because like I said, like B movies like this usually, like the Charles Band stuff, like Trauma, they add in humor, but they don't. I don't want to say understand humor. I think they go for the cheapest jokes, and they can't get the right actors to pull it off. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, you can't tell me that Lloyd Kaufman doesn't know how to write a joke.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't feel like the actors that he gets, because it's very cheap movies, can really pull it off.
Yeah.
Like,
I have a Lloyd Kaufman story sometime.
You know what? Go ahead. Tell it.
Well, I was in Chicago for Fangoria's Weekend of Horrors.
Mm-hmm.
And Lloyd was one of the guests there for the weekend. And I went into his room. He had kind of a booth set up, and it was just Lloyd. And there was this other girl in there, really very attractive young lady. And so I'm sitting there and I'm talking to Lloyd, and he signs my 25th anniversary Toxic Avenger DVD. He signs that for me. And then he goes, asks the girl's name, and they're kind of talking. And then he's like, hey, I'd like you to meet Gabe. Gabe, we'll call her Anna. And I think you guys should go off and hook up for a while.
Jeez. Did you?
Lloyd. No, I was married.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, look, he comes off as a very personal person. Like, it's one of those things where I'm not a huge Trauma fan. We've talked about this before. I'm not a huge Trauma guy. Maybe I've never seen the original Toxic Avenger. You know, I've seen Class of Nukem High. I like that. Tromeo and Juliet. I enjoyed that.
James Gunn.
Yep, James Gunn wrote it. Yep. Okay, so back to Tammy and the T-Rex.
Yeah, I keep getting
so it
distracted.
What?
I keep distracting you.
No, it's fine. That's what this podcast is. It's like, hey, let's bullshit about movie stuff. But he like so yeah, they eventually get Paul Walker's brain and implant it into the dinosaur.
Yes.
And yeah, eventually the dinosaur like wakes up and murders both like the kind of bodyguard guy and the guy who creates the thing. And that's the thing, that like when that happens, actually first there's the gore scene where the doctor
removes the brain.
It's like, oh my God.
I like how he has a jigsaw. That's what he's going to cut through the skull with, is a jigsaw.
Yeah, and it's one of the things where like the first time I saw it, it was I didn't know that was gonna happen, because like what they intended with the movie, I thought it was like a PG-13 fun teen comedy.
Right.
But god damn, man, like the gore in this movie is just top notch, fantastic. Like,
yeah, well, they danced in Reanimator territory, I'm feeling.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like there's the party scene, like the next scene is the party. And you know, you got and also I want to mention not Molly Ringwald, you know, the redhead girl it's just like, is that Molly? No, it's not Molly Ringwald. So I call it not Molly Ringwald. But there's the party scene, like most of the teens are there. Denise Richards leaves eventually. because she's so heartbroken about Paul Walker. And they come, like, the T-Rex comes in and just, God, like, he cuts open Weasel.
Yeah.
And like Weasel is pulling out his guts.
He's eviscerated.
Yeah.
What?
He's like ripping people's heads off. That shocked me when I saw it, and I think it really does add to the movie, because it's like the rest of it is like kind of a cheesy teen romance.
Right. After school special romance. I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, this could have played on ABC when I was a kid.
Well, I think it's more like it feels more like a ABC comedy, teen comedy. It kind of has the same feeling of, like, say, Boy Meets World. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's somewhat lighthearted. You may have a few edgy jokes. But it's just like overall it's very much a good just
It's just a fun time.
yeah, it's just a fun time. And then you have a dinosaur biting people's heads off.
Yeah, but he can't eat it. That's the thing. He just. Or remember when he was pulling out the gristle from his teeth?
Yeah. Like, how does that bother you? What is?
Not only that, but how does he get his like the hands in the gloves? I kept when he pulls up Byron.
Yeah. Well,
And he brushes him off.
Well, I think it's what's worth mentioning. They have the animatronic dinosaur, but they also have what I think is just like, somebody's arms in like a Tyrannosaurus arm thing to as that. So the effects in this movie are both good and bad at the same time. Like, anytime the dinosaur's walking, it's just like it's like this superimposed green screen thing.
Oh, remember when she's riding the dinosaur?
Yes, towards the end, she's riding the dinosaur, and it looks like a 1998 Flash animation.
Oh yeah, it's really bad computer animation. Really bad.
Yeah, it is, but it also kind of adds to the charm of the movie.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's like 8-bit.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's absolutely, like, the thing I love, like, and I gotta say, I absolutely love this movie. Like, after rewatching it, like, I was laughing so much. Like, I was so impressed with the gore. I was charmed by the characters. Like, it's and like you said, like, we'll talk about the relationship between Byron and his dad, who's the sheriff of this little podunk town. Like, he like, apparently they come from Detroit. And there's also these two, like, the two bumbling cops are in his employ, and it's and like, when they come across the party, the crime scene at the party, I was just like, once eating popcorn, it's like, you were decapitated. God damn it.
Decapitated. I got you.
Yeah. No, you're getting popcorn all over the crime scene.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I feel like that's a kind of a shtick joke that they've done. You know, the guy eating the sandwich in the morgue while he's doing an
Yeah.
autopsy. You know, that
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah. There's a joke in the last season of Luther where because I guess it was because there was a running gag where Idris Elba's character would bring cake to the mortician, and his new partner comes down to the morgue, and like the mortician goes like the coroner goes like Luther usually brings cake. Is this, and then she goes like some people here's a bucket, some people vomit, and then the partner goes probably all the cake. It's such a quaint British joke.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, and then eventually they Paul Walker's character, like the dinosaur, reveals himself to and I love that they give the dinosaur a personality.
Right, and they're playing charades for his unveiling.
Yeah, when he kidnaps Denise Richards, and like, and this is a bit from earlier in the movie where, I'm pretty sure like Paul Walker's character is a great big dum dum. He is just like a big dummy because like he apparently gave Denise Richards a yellow flower. What kind of, I don't know what kind of flower it is.
It was a rose. It was a yellow rose that he gave her at the beginning.
And
she was like, I can't accept this. And he's like, why? And she's like, you know why, he'll kill you. And then, so instead of getting all butthurt about it, he eats it.
Yeah, he like takes a bite out of it jokingly. It's like, you're a great big dum dum. And he's what we would call right now a himbo. That's kind of why I kind of stand Paul Walker. And I stand Paul Walker even before he died. One day I'll have to talk about probably my favorite Paul Walker movie, Running Scared. Have you ever seen that?
Never seen it. Nope.
It's wonderful. It's a weird noir exploitation take on Grimm's fairy tales. So you might actually really like it.
As soon as you say exploitation, I'm in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like that's the one thing like about you that I think like you're definitely suited for this podcast is like you will talk to me about just the most obscure exploitation like you recently like you're also like Jess Nero, and it's just like I don't know who that is. Gabe is like, okay, here's the 15 movies he made. But also,
oh yeah, Mr. Franco, yes,
yeah, Jess Franco. I have, and just so you know, I have Vampire Lesbos. That's the title, right?
Vampiro Lesbos.
Vampiros Lesbos. It's in my queue. I'm gonna watch it sometime soon.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
But back to the movie. Yeah, and the doctor and his are they insinuating that she did porn? There's
a couple of references in there that have the reference her being of a not such a classy background.
Yeah. Which I'm fine with. She is a very good looking woman. Yes. you recognized her. Where did you recognize her from?
Oh, I didn't recognize her. I just was waiting for her top to come off.
You just saw like she was that person in the movie that would happen to.
Yeah, because she was
always like in these kind of corsets, like deep, cleavage.
Right. It was kind of like the Fifth Element stewardesses outfits.
But yeah, so, and by the way, like it's hard to talk about this movie in terms of continuity because it's a very simple movie. One of my favorite scenes, like everybody is on the same page. Byron and Denise Richards goes to the morgue so they can find a new body for Paul Walker, and that is one of my favorite scenes. And I like how Byron keeps pushing the girl body. I don't know, it's just like,
right.
yeah, it's just like, hey, maybe maybe you'll like, yeah, and on it.
Or the funny
No,
the
you
funny
say
thing is they actually pause. They had like he holds on it and he's like thinking about it.
yeah, he's
You know
actually
what
thinking
I'm
about it.
saying?
It's
He
just
doesn't
like, yeah. The T-Rex and Tammy and the T-Rex says trans rights. So I'm sorry if that's insensitive. I was just, but yeah, it's like they're just looking for a body in the morgue, like that, and they're driving him around in the back of a pickup truck, and eventually, yeah. And by the way, the animatronics on that dinosaur are fantastic.
Yeah, they're not bad at all. They get the eyelids working and they get the
Yeah.
mouth working and
Yeah, but I mean, you can kind of see like a crack in the, in the eye, or like, something in the eye that's like, okay, that's definitely like an artificial eyeball. It's not like Jurassic
right.
Park, but
No.
it
And
is.
how do you get an animatronic dinosaur to cry?
I'm sure they like had some kind of thing within the thing and just like squirted it out. Like had
Well, yeah, but he's a robot, so how does he cry? That was
Oh,
baffling me
right.
at
Okay,
at the funeral.
you mean within the movie? Yeah. Wait,
Yeah,
which scene does that happen? Is this
the funeral when his
oh, yeah,
uncle's
yeah, yeah.
talking at the podium, and
Yeah, and
they cut to the Michael dinosaur, and he's got things of water spraying down his face.
that is hilarious. I think it's just like it's one of those things where it's just like, you know what? It's a movie. It's just funny. And also like it is heartwarming to see his drunk uncle like, at the, eulogizing him.
Yeah,
Like it is, it's nice. It's a nice scene. But also then the uncle passes out.
he falls into the arms of the children.
Yeah, and but yeah, the everybody's so eventually it linearly they find where they're keeping like Tammy and the T-Rex. They're trying so they hide out in some barn.
Yeah, random.
And yeah. And they surround them, and they're just like, hey, the doctor comes in and says, hey, I can get him with a tranquilizer. How can you get a dinosaur? How can you
A non-real dinosaur, an
Yes.
animatronic robotic dinosaur.
Yes, with a tranquilizer. It's microbes. He is so funny in this. He was wasted in Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't understand how Weekend at Bernie's is such a popular movie.
I saw it when I was a kid when it came out, and I didn't get it then, and I still don't get it now.
Yeah, especially since apparently the funniest person you kill off. I mean, but he is doing those physical acting stuff, so.
Right. He's definitely got some physical talent in his comedy routine.
Yeah. I remember, like, the funniest part, the funniest thing he does is during the operation scene, and he's smoking during it, right?
He was smoking in the
He was
hospital, remember?
right. That's what it is. He was smoking in the hospital. And he gives the cigarette to another doctor, and the other doctor starts smoking it.
Yeah.
Have you watched?
That's a throwback to the 70s where I come from.
Oh yeah, you're so old.
Yeah. Hey, we had ashtrays in college at when I went to junior college. We had ashtrays in the student lounge.
Have you watched Velocipaster yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't got around to it yet.
There's a very funny scene at the end, towards the end, that pertains to what we're talking about here. So,
All right.
I would definitely like, I would definitely, especially someone like you who delves into this like me, bad movies, B movies, exploitation movies, somebody who uh did that kind of movie, but kind of definitely feels like they studied it. You know what I mean? Like I kind of
Right.
feeling like the movie Kung Fury, right?
Yep.
Like it's a great technical achievement, but it definitely also feels like you have an idea of what exploitation movies are, but you don't really know.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I could make one in a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh God, how do you feel about Eli Roth?
Hack.
Thank you. Thank you.
Like like Cabin Fever is brilliant, but that was it. And Cabin Fever is brilliant on a level of B movie.
I think Cabin Fever is fine. My problem with it is it is all over the place. I can't gauge what it's trying to do. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's a Hicksploitation movie. I don't know if it's a virus movie. I don't know if it's a slasher movie. You know what I mean?
Right. It's definitely a genre cross referencing each other.
Sure.
Except the Hicks never really show up again other than yelling pancake.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know. I just, all through
Have
it,
you
like
I was gonna say, have you watched like Cannibal Ferox and Cannibal Holocaust?
I have not. Did you
Ah.
watch his Green Inferno?
Yeah, that's what I was going to reference next was Green Inferno, which is a blatant ripoff of both of those films, and it has nowhere near the visceral impact of either one of those films.
Right. Right. I haven't seen it, so I can't like comment on it. I've seen Hostel. I've seen those. I read a quote from him that he did for like I think this companion book for Grindhouse. Which we have different
Right.
opinions about Tarantino. I actually think like Death Proof is his last good movie. But Eli Roth did a short. It did a fake trailer for that movie.
Yeah.
And he talks
Thanksgiving.
about how he had an actress do like 50 takes jumping on a trampoline. That's probably in the trailer for like in that part for like 5-6 seconds.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he kept, it's like that's exploitation. That's like what Stanley Kubrick did, and da da da. It's like Stanley Kubrick was an exploitation director. Exploitation directors did not have the luxury of 50 fucking takes.
No, no.
No.
Kubrick is not. He's dabbled in it, but he wasn't like Kubrick's. Didn't he do Eyes Wide Shut?
Yeah, but even then, I think he's a prestige director. I think there's definitely a fine line between art house and exploitation.
Yes, yes, and they live in the same boat sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. I don't think Kubrick was ever in that boat though. I think his stuff was always in the and sometimes not even. I think and like here's my theory is there's exploitation, art house, and then there's prestige, and I think he was always a prestige almost always a prestige director. I haven't like delved into his early stuff, but he did a lot of like he did stuff with like Kirk Douglas, so I can't say like that's exploitation.
Right, right. Well, sometimes the mainstream actually delved into exploitation films
Well,
for a while there in the 70s.
yeah, I mean, I guess it's hard for me to figure out what is exploitation and what is just genre. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think I would
Right,
call
right.
Halloween exploitation
No,
movie.
no, it's not. Halloween is just a straight up slasher.
Yeah, but like slasher is in the vein of exploitation.
Yeah, but I think you'd have to add in a lot more naked people to get it exploitation.
I like that that's your criteria is naked people.
Yeah, yeah. You ever heard of the Something Weird video label?
Yes, I know. Yep.
Yeah, that's a great place to start if you're looking for exploitation films and you
Right.
want to dive into what I mean. I have a documentary called "That's Exploitation" that's all about David Friedman and Something Weird, and it's got Frank Henenlotter. He
Yeah,
directed it.
and Frank Henenlotter had a great quote, I think, about his movies is, or at least it might have been just about Basket Case, but I think he was, or maybe it was like his movies overall. Is just like I never made horror movies. I made exploitation movies.
Yeah, that's Henenlotter. That's his gig. He doesn't, that's what I love about certain directors is they're very honest about what they make.
Yeah, and and actually back to Tammy and T-Rex, the director had a very a good quote about it, and and it's on his IMDb. Let's see. I was just trying to do a film for people that like wacky movies. In other words, you laugh at the experience that I was facing, which is what the hell are you meant to do with this material? I was sticking all this shit in it just to make it work. Of course, when you only have a week to work on the script, it is a bit thin. I'm also the biggest plagiarist. I'm constantly asking the cast and crew if they have anything better they can add.
The patient is ready, doctor.
So it begins. One simple life sacrifice for the good of all mankind, and us, of course. Scalpel, please. You know, I feel like Christopher Columbus on the verge of discovering a whole new world.
He thought he was in Asia.
This is a much better place.
Yowie!
Oh, I love brains. Softly, soft. Ah, yes.
What's going on?
Helga.
You're going to traumatize his brain before we even get it.
The human brain is a lot more resilient than you can think, huh, Bobby? It can repair itself, reprogram itself. It's even capable of deceiving itself, imagining that it's better than it is, just to please itself, huh?
Which honestly, like I do feel like there is that in the movie. There is like, hey, what can you add to this? Hey, actor, what thing can you? Especially the guy who plays Byron, like he does a lot of great.
Yeah, a collaborative effort.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're doing something like that, which is like just this wacky thing. Yeah, and the movie ends with the T-Rex killing the scientist, and by the way, when the assistant runs away, her skirt is hiking up and she's pulling it down. It's like that is such a weird thing that had to have just happened in the moment. That was
right.
Adds
because
so much more.
Like, yeah, it was totally, I think, a mistake. Like, because the way she starts running like sideways and weird and pulling down her skirt at the same time, I think that was totally not supposed to happen in the scene, and that it cracked me up. I was just like, wow, wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, but the cops eventually kill the T-Rex, or like destroy the body of the T-Rex. And
right.
So that scene ends with Denise Richards crying over the body. And then we cut to her coming home from school, and his brain is in a jar. His brain is like, have you seen The Brain That Wouldn't Die?
Yeah, I was just going to reference that. Yep.
Yes, absolutely. By the way, I have a theory that that's in the Basket Case cinematic universe. The Basket Case cinematic universe, the 3 Basket Case movies, Brain Damage. Oh, because in 2, again, off on a tangent for another movie. In 2, you can see it in the newspapers, in the tabloid guy's office. That one, it's a still from the brain that wouldn't die. It's just like, it has some headline, but it's like that's in the yeah. But also the fact that there's brain damage as well, and
Yeah.
Anyway, so his brain is in like a pan, and she like gives him some, like, I guess whiskey.
I thought it was whiskey. Yes.
It looked like Coke. It looked like Coca-Cola.
Oh, really? I thought it looked like whiskey. I thought
I'm sure it's whiskey, but yeah. And then she does a striptease for him, which, by the way, is a very 90s MTV style striptease.
Yes.
Like, it's this big corset, white, like Madonna looking thing, but just looks so hard to get off. Like, it looks so hard, like you cannot have sex with that thing.
Or you couldn't breathe and do it.
Mm-hmm. But of course, it's Denise Richards, and she's incredibly attractive, so it works. And then he starts circus. I guess he comes, but his brain comes.
Yeah,
which I guess is what sapiosexuals do. I don't know.
Yeah, the sparks. I was like, really, sparks? That's how you're gonna do this?
Yeah, yeah, that's how it ends. And they talk about and she says, like, they found the bodies of those skiers that went missing. I'll go check it out in the morning. It's just like, they're still trying to find a body for him.
Right.
I feel like that ending though was tacked on, because it's totally different from the last scene.
Right, a completely different tone.
Yeah,
it was an afterthought.
Yeah, and I mean, the story, the ending to Freaks.
Oh God, it's been a million years since I've seen that.
Right, and like I think it was initially supposed to end with the woman being a chicken person.
Right.
And then for some reason it goes into the little people like reuniting, and they tacked that on because like the chicken person ending was too dark for that. The studio thought that was too dark.
Which is funny because that's pre-code, isn't it?
I think it was the third. I'm trying to think if it was before or after Dracula for Todd Browning. But
it was before.
It was before, so it probably would have been pre-code. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I mean, but even without a code, you still got the studios.
Right.
Being like, hey, we can't have a downer ending. Like even now, like if it's a hard R movie with tons of violence, there's like, do we really want to end it on this note?
Oh, you mean like the Joker?
Oh, wait, was that a studio thing?
No, I mean that just ended so bleak.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I mean, the thing is, like, if you have a movie about a villain, I just assume like you have to end it bleakly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's got to be dark.
Or you make Megamind, which is also a good movie. So.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen that. Not since my boys were little.
I watched it probably a couple of years, like a year ago. It holds up. It's still a funny movie.
That's Will Ferrell, right?
Will Ferrell, Tina Fey, Brad Pitt.
You throw Tina Fey in there and you got good stuff.
Yep, she's great. But yeah, Tammy and the T-Rex. Oh my God, it like I'm still like blown away after watching it again. How wonderful and funny and interesting it is, and those kinds of because in my experience, these kinds of B movies are, like I said, not really that funny. Like the comedy doesn't land.
Right.
Yeah. So it's good to see, like, and you know what helps is like the actors give it their all.
Right. You can tell they're committed to making this.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I was genuinely surprised that Denise Richards is as funny as she is. Like she is.
Well, if you've seen her on The Real Housewives, then you know she's really funny.
Is she and there is that one of those shows your wife watches, or is that your show?
Yeah. No, 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 no. But I sit there and play video games on my phone while she watches, and that Denise Richards, she's something special.
Did you see Money Plane?
No.
Apparently she's in it. Apparently it's not as fun as you would think the premise is, but
Right.
yeah, she's in it. Yeah, and she, like her and Byron and like I'm still not over how babyface Paul Walker is in this. He is such a baby. You know? It's like
You know
I
what
think
we didn't mention? We didn't mention when at the funeral when they go to drag the corpse out of the coffin.
oh yeah, that scene where they like try like and they're trying to dig up the body and it's like it's not it's not his body, right? It's somebody else's body because it's so
No, it's supposed to
decayed.
be his body.
But it's so
Yeah,
decayed. Like it has maggots
I
and
know.
worms, and there's rats in the coffin. That's like the reason you have a coffin is so shit doesn't get in
It's to
there.
keep the bugs out. Yeah. Yeah, I thought that when they did that, when they pulled it open and there's the bugs fall out of his eye socket and the rats are running around, I'm just like, wow, really?
It's been like
You
2 days,
decompose
dude.
this that quickly?
Yeah.
I know.
One of my favorite like little gags in the movie is when they're Paul Walker's like on life support in the hospital, and
Yeah.
Byron sits on the uncle's lap. Who's the uncle's passed out with a flask in his hand.
Flask.
Byron takes it out of his hand, takes a sip, and you can see the uncle's hand doesn't move, or at least moves a little, but it's still like in the place where it's just like it's like in position to hold a flask. Yeah. Like it's like little things like that kind of put it over the edge of like these kinds of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we should be wrapping this up. Anything you want to say specifically about this movie?
All I have to say is the final word for me was Denise Richards' outfit at the funeral that she wore from most of the rest of the movie. If that wasn't the definition of the 90s alternative fashion for girls who thought they were witches, I don't know what was.
You can see like Fairuza Balk wearing that.
Oh, dude, absolutely. That is totally like crushed velvet craft.
Oh, by the way, how do you feel about the remake coming out of The Craft?
I have no horse in the race. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember really liking the original. I don't see. Okay. I don't see where it gets its hype from. So many people love that movie, and it's just it was okay.
Because we're just apart from two different generations. I'm an older millennial. You're a younger Gen Xer. So like I think people my age, like goth chicks my age, like that was their thing. Like that was their movie. So really? I guess like I guess I was just yeah. And I like the first like the original movie, but anyway, yeah, it's like it's so 90s, it's so fun. Like definitely suggest it for a fun movie night, or just like just like get people over, have a couple of beers, and just like, and it's what, because like this is, I love this trash, and I want to make it clear here. Sometimes it's so bad they're good movies. Sometimes they're movies that were unfairly maligned that we're going to do on the show.
Okay.
And then there's movies like this that are trying to be movies, but also exceed that. Like they're just really good movies and are great at the stuff they're trying to pull off.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what that is.
Give a shout out to we got to give a shout out to Vinegar Syndrome for putting this out too.
I was going to suggest that. Yeah, they re-released the original cut of the movie.
Yep.
And yeah, and they're your boys. You hype them up so much. I
Well,
have
not only did they put it out, they put it out on 4K.
Yeah, and I was like watching the movies, like, does this need to be 4K? But that's what they do. Like, they just re-released Zombie on 4K. I haven't. I just saw it for the first time on Shudder. I don't have the 4K. I have Maniac from them, which I should watch.
That's from Blue Underground.
Oh, okay. Oh, no. Yeah, you're right. There's so many like fringe, like, like it's one of those things where like Criterion is like the top tier. You got stuff like Arrow, like, and then the genre guys, the next, the Criterion of genre is Arrow, but then you got Blue Underground and Vinegar Syndrome. You know what?
And Mondo Macabre.
I don't know that one. Here's the thing. Again, you do this thing where you just know these obscure 70s exploitation movies. And I love it. That's why that's my bag, man. If it has Laura Gessmer in it, I'm good. Again, I don't know who that is, but I love that you reference that. The
Emmanuel movies.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll have to watch those.
You got to dig into the Black Emmanuel movies with Laura Gemser. Oh, dude, you're missing out on Emmanuel and the Last Cannibals, Emmanuel in America, Emmanuel Around the World.
Okay, I'll check. I'll check it out. All right, Gabe, thank you for being on. We'll have you on again for the I Love This Treasure episode, which I'm going to announce because I want people to watch those. I definitely want people to watch those movies. It's going to be 2015 spring. Have you watched that yet?
No, I haven't got around to it yet.
Okay. I'm really interested because it's a very fascinating movie. But it's on Shudder. If you have the time.
That one's on Shudder.
Yes, that's on Shudder too. So you and people at home, if you have the time, watch Spring. I wouldn't be doing it on this podcast if I didn't really, really enjoy it. Gabe, do you have anything you want to promote?
Just Vinegar Syndrome.
I mean, you have a Bandcamp for your music.
Oh yeah. I guess I could do that. It's microwave.bandcamp.com.
Yes, and music very good. It's industrial metal stuff like that. If you're into that, definitely check it out. Gabe's wonderful. You've been a musician for what, 30 years?
Oh God, I started in earnest when I was 17 or 18, and I'm almost 48. So yeah, 30 years.
Yeah, and you've even told me stories that you played at First Street in Minneapolis. Like that's pretty fucking cool. Like,
it was a long time ago.
Well, I mean, anybody who plays the same place as Prince did, that's cool. Maybe one day we'll do Under the Cherry Moon.
Oh yeah,
I actually hear that's a very good movie.
It's not a good movie. It's not a good movie at all. But the soundtrack is unbelievably good.
Right. Okay. Well, one day we may discuss. You and me may discuss that one day.
All right.
But anyway, thank you, garbage people, for listening to I Love This Trash. Definitely check out Tammy and the T-Rex. Good night, everybody.